Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
This is another one of those stories. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what liberal garbage can we debunk today? This was so easy. We have a couple stories up at the show notes at Bongino.com. Matt Palumbo wrote a story on it. But this actress, apparently she's a soap opera actress, whatever it may be, she decided it would be a good idea to tweet out some photos taking a shot. You can see this article at the Daily Caller, by the way, covering it as well. Taking a shot at the Trump administration's immigration policies. So inside, you can see in the Daily Caller piece, it's up at the show notes. Please read it again, Bongino.com. You subscribe to my email list, I'll send them to you. By Virginia Cruda. Soap actress crops out the timestamp to blame Trump for, quote, torture that happened under Obama. She's doubling down on this. So here are the pictures she posts to her Twitter account. And notice in the upper left-hand corner of the picture, what you don't see, which is an actual timestamp. Here's picture number one. Wow, that looks kind of terrible. You have people in those foil blankets in an immigration facility. Wow, that's tough. I mean, no one wants to see that. All right, you see this other picture, people sleeping on the floor in these aluminum blankets. Now look, hold on, keep this picture up. If you can see this on our YouTube.com, if not, I'll explain to you for the audio audience. Just know this, in the upper left-hand corner, it's a bunch of people who are detained in an immigration facility here illegally, who are in those aluminum foil blankets, who are sleeping on the floor. Mm-hmm. But in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see there's a little tiny sliver of black there. But you can't really see what it is. So hat tip Caleb Hall on Twitter, who noticed the little anomaly there and took the whole photo and found out that what was blacked out is a timestamp. What's the timestamp? 8/19/2015 at 5 o'clock in the morning. 2015. Joe, who was the president in 2015? Gosh, who was that? Yes, it was Barack Obama. Just so we're clear, because we like to argue on a level playing field here. We're trying to advance a set of ideas. So I want to know what your principles are. I can tell you what mine are, whether they're about taxes or school choice. We should be able to debate those ideas, get into a little friction match here, and figure out which idea is better. Is school choice better than top-down government education? Are lower tax rates better than higher tax rates? What rates are we talking about? My entire point in doing stories like this is to show you that it's impossible to argue with liberals, because liberals largely, many of them, don't have principles to argue against. The actress who put this up, her alleged principle is that giving people a foil blanket and asking them to sleep on the floor in an immigration facility is somehow torture, ignoring how they got here, and the government did not bring this problem on. People who come here illegally do. Forget about that part for a minute. But her point in the tweet is that's torture. But notice, it happened under your Obama administration, and this actress, it was largely radio silent. Nothing. So I thought your principles were housing people like this who come here illegally is torture. So where was the media when it happened under Obama? I was doing an appearance on Sean Hannity's show from my home office right here. I just changed the screen in the background for those of you looking for a little behind-the-scenes action. And while I was on the air, I was supposed to be debating Geraldo about immigration. And what happened was a curveball, because Jerry Nadler announced with Adam Schiff last night that Bob Mueller is now going to testify up on Capitol Hill. Have the story up at Bongino.com. You can see it there on July 17th. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I said last night on the air, and I will say again, I think this is going to blow up in absolutely spectacular fashion for the Democrats again, because Bob Mueller's case was a train wreck. The report was a train wreck. And Mueller has specifically stated He is not going to testify to anything outside of the four corners of his report. His report exonerated President Trump. I love tweeting that because it drives liberals crazy. President Trump was not charged with anything. The evidence of obstruction was tainted because he left out all the exculpatory evidence. Mueller's report is a joke. It's a fairy tale for idiots. And the problem is now that Mueller was subpoenaed by these two morons, Nadler and Schiff, these two liberal Democrats, I'm not sure they realize how badly and in epic fashion this is going to absolutely explode in their face, okay? I received a bunch of emails and tweets from listeners last night saying, Dan, you have to address why are they doing this? Why are they bringing Mueller back? Okay, I just laid out reason number one. Reason number one is Nadler's a moron, folks. He's a moron. Listen to me. I have a lot of good sources up there. A lot. The Democrats up on the Hill, Joe, are furious with Nadler. He has entirely mismanaged this impeachment Mueller report inquiry from day one. He has blown it. Right. Every hearing he's called has blown up in his face. He has made a fool out of himself. He's just incompetent. That's reason number one. He just doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not sure Nadler even understands how badly the Mueller report is going to blow up in Mueller's face when he's forced to answer questions about it. But number two, why are they doing this, the Democrats? Because, ladies and gentlemen, they don't have anything else. Nadler is desperate to stay in front of the cameras because these are not good people. Stop applauding. When I say good people, I'm talking about these committee folks. I'm not talking about Democrats in general. I'm talking about, I don't want to do what they do to us. I'm talking about Nadler and Schiff. These are not good people. Their motives are to stay in front of the cameras because they reside from really liberal, Democrat plus 20 districts in some cases, and they need to raise money. In other words, Nadler and Schiff, follow me here. There is no penalty for their behavior at all. They are not running in competitive districts. The districts will vote them in no matter what. They could be caught on camera stealing Donald Trump's French fries, and it doesn't matter. Nadler and Schiff will get reelected. Because of that, they can make really stupid moves because the people in their districts won't penalize them. And these stupid moves are to continue to torture the Trump administration by bringing them into Congress and making them answer ridiculous questions about a crime that never happened. But let's get to the debate last night. What a train wreck. Total disaster and a huge, monstrous landmine was laid last night for now who's becoming one of the front runners, Elizabeth Warren, and she probably doesn't even realize it's so. Even Politico, left-wing outlet Politico, covered this last night, titled by Jeff Greenfield, and I'll put this story in the show notes today, by the way. It's worth your time. The landmine that just got laid for Elizabeth Warren. Ooh, no. Now, the running theory through this Politico piece is that stuff that happens that's seemingly innocuous during primary season can come back later during the general election and explode on you. And the example they give, Joe, which I know you're familiar with, was the Michael Dukakis, George H.W. Bush election and the famous Willie Horton ads, where during the primary, Al Gore and Dukakis, they got into it over this weekend furlough program. Michael Dukakis, who was the governor of Massachusetts, had a program to let violent felons, remember this, Joe? To let violent felons out on the weekends. Well, one of them, Willie Horton, goes out on the weekend and engages in this crime spree, and it's covered in the Politico piece there. And it comes back during the general to haunt him because the Bush team had run ads against him. So this is his piece in Politico, not mine, it's his. But it's worth your time. It's actually good, even though it's in Politico. So the point is that during the debate when that happened with Gore and Dukakis, nobody really thought anything of it, Joe, because it was a Democrat crowd, Democrats being largely liberal, like, weekend furloughs, that's great, no problem at all, right? It only came back later in the general to haunt them. What happened last night with Elizabeth Warren? That 1,000%, if, and this is a big if Elizabeth Warren is to win the nomination or become the vice presidential candidate, that's a possibility too, if she loses and is picked up as the VP, What did Liz Warren do last night that is going to blow up in her face? Warren is a serious candidate.
Yeah.
She is. I thought she was done after the Charlemagne interview where they compared her to Rachel Dolezal, who claimed to be black and is really white. I thought, for her Pocahontas incident, of course, I thought that was bad enough. But she's not done. This moment will be played over and over. If I had a number one takeaway, I'll address this tonight. I'll be on Sean Hannity's show on Fox at 9 p.m. debating Geraldo again about the debate coverage. I will bring this up again tonight. There's your cheat sheet. This, for me, was the number one takeaway from last night's event at the debate. And we'll cover tonight's event tomorrow, by the way. You have a candidate on stage who is finishing second and third in some polls, who actually raised her hand and said she's going to cancel your insurance. Elizabeth Warren is in big trouble now in the general. Keep that image on your screen of her raising her hand. I want to cancel your private insurance. Liz Warren posing there. That's going to be a great shot. So let's sum up how awful yesterday was. As Milton Friedman, one of my heroes, God rest his soul, has always said, you cannot have open borders and a welfare state because the entire world can stake a claim to U.S. taxpayer benefits. We now know that is the official stance of multiple candidates running for the presidency in the United States. Julian Castro advocated on night one to wipe clean our borders, to essentially decriminalize crossing the border illegally. It happened. You can check the tape yourself. Of course, he changed his prior position, as we stated on yesterday's show, but that doesn't matter. They're all flip-floppers anyway. So now we are back to arguing for open borders and a welfare state, which is a mathematical impossibility and a national security nightmare. That's your Democrat Party. Secondly, we're back to advocating for the cancellation of free market insurance. Your healthcare plan will get canceled, a doubling of your tax dollars, and a complete meltdown of the U.S. healthcare economy. I'm not suggesting private insurance has all the answers, but I'm here to tell you all of your problems are being caused by government in the healthcare arena. No doubt. Here, 25, here, 45. This is only for the rich. We are not taxing the middle class. Bobby, that's not what I said. It's going to affect the rich middle class, too. You just said it was the middle class. Now you said it was the rich. I'm trying to gaslight your dopey... Who wants to double the rate of homework for children in third grade? And a car for you! And a car for you! And a book for you! This is... And everybody's like...
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 at DBongino.